Yo, we out here live and direct.
All right.
You already know where we at. You know what we doing. We out here on another Wednesday, live and the studio.
What is the studio called?
Studio's called Studio Jazz Beezy.
King Street. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Live and direct make it sound like we the Ethernet cord plugged into the wall. I like that. We can work with that.
You know,
We got
that's what we
that
doing.
good internet.
I know y'all missed me. I mean, us. I know y'all missed us. Sorry.
All right,
Don't look at me like that.
All right,
let's get it. What up? What up?
I don't know who decided to put you in the center.
Dude.
That was the worst thing
Me.
you could have done for your head.
I did.
All right, welcome into Outspoken. Say what you mean what you say. Always a pleasure having you guys here every Wednesday, per usual. As my man's already said, we're coming off of the NFL Combine and getting ready for the free agency to start next week. But we just had the end of the franchise tag window as well, so a lot of moving pieces, a lot of teams doing a lot of things going on right now. But before we get into all of that, as always, I'm Cordell.
Marcus.
Eat rock.
Dose.
All right,
What's
so
up with you? Where we starting, Cordell?
Well, we gotta hit the combine.
We got a lot
please
of-
like,
of things
subscribe,
to talk
share on all socials.
Please like.
Please. For
Great.
the,
And
love,
That's
for the
where
love
we
of God.
start.
Hey, look.
Absolutely.
And then
Like me how I like you.
Boom. Reciprocate that
What?
energy.
I need to, and they're gonna be like, "And how do you like me?"
Phenomenal.
So don't
I like you as much as anybody else can like you in this world.
That's not what you said when the camera wasn't on.
Reciprocate energy.
You was talking greasy off camera.
Whoa, let's calm down. Take it
Yeah.
easy.
All right,
You don't put
so-
your business out there.
Yes, we'll talk. We'll start with the NFL Combine. Happened. It concluded yesterday officially.
No,
Tuesday?
Monday.
Sunday.
Sunday.
Sunday?
All the
Monday.
players went by
Uh,
Sunday.
Sunday was offensive lineman.
Yeah, that is true. What's
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why I felt like a Monday or Tuesday.
It's,
had
it's
something
Wednesday.
random.
You know that, right?
You know, this is what happens when I'm remote. Days go.
I feel that. Actually, I don't feel that, but I would love to
I
be
wish
on the
I
same
could,
wavelength.
but,
That sounds
yeah.
beautiful.
You
It
did
really
today.
do.
So,
But I wasn't
Hmm.
working.
Dirtbag.
so all right. So let's get into it. Talk about our high risers, our low fallers. Who do you guys feel like did the damn thing? Who do you guys
I hope we all
feel a little lacklustered?
I hope we don't all choose the same players for us.
Probably
Nah.
Probably.
I think we're good.
Okay, I'll start with Xavier Worthy then. I'll take that one first.
All right. Go ahead.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Oh, low hanging fruit. Go ahead.
I got multiple guys. I'm
I mean,
good.
I was just going to talk about him as a whole, but we can
Oh
absolutely
man,
just-
Xavier Worthy, man, he definitely raised some eyebrows for sure this past weekend, running a 4.21, which is now a combine record in the 40, breaking the record that was previously set by John Ross.
See how you say combine record, not world record? Go ahead. Whatever.
Because he ain't raced.
Thank you, people from the
Please
world,
go ahead.
sir.
Continue.
Thank you.
We don't have time to argue about this on here.
He
Right?
did that in
we
Indianapolis
go.
and Indianapolis only. Okay,
Yes,
that's
it is the
stays
combine.
there.
Carry on.
So again, he set the record on his second try. His first try was a 4.22. I guess he felt like that wasn't good enough.
Hey.
No, his first try was a 4.25.
No, it was a 4.22.
No. His first try was a 4.25. His second one came in at 4.22 unofficially, and then it came in officially at 4.21.
He tied it on the first try.
So
Yeah.
his official was
Mm-mm.
4.22. What you saying?
The first try,
No,
yeah.
the
Because the
official
unofficial was 4.25.
The official was
No.
four.
The
No,
official
the
was
unofficial
no.
was
The
first one.
4.25,
The first one was 4.25.
and then the
That's what I'm
second
saying.
one was
No, that was official.
4.22.
That was official.
It was his first try officially came in at 4.25. His
No,
second
it's
try
still
came
unofficial.
in.
It's still unofficial.
Whatever. He
No,
ran a
the first
4.21.
two
That's
runs
what
are
he.
Unofficial,
And
and
then
then
4.21.
once they
That's
get
what
the
it was.
official time, then that's when they
Okay,
say
well,
this
alright.
is your official best.
Okay,
That's
yes, his official best.
Yes.
Yes, we're on the same page.
Yeah,
His official best.
but I'm
was
saying
4.21.
unofficially it was 4.25 and then 4.22.
4.22.
Man, there's a lot of people
Y'all
that
are
are
ridiculous.
confused right now. This is
No,
this is
well,
I'm
we got
telling
it.
you.
Anyway.
We got it.
It's not that-
anyways,
it's-
bro.
as I was saying.
You shouldn't have got Xavier Worthy. He gave him the false information. Go ahead.
What do you mean? I gave him the necessary information.
Yeah.
4.21 set the combine record. I think he definitely improved his draft stock. There's a really good chance he's a first round pick. And there's one team in particular in the first round that I think is probably going to grab him no matter what happens. And that team is the defending Super Bowl champions.
If he makes it there.
He better not.
Yeah, to be honest,
I'll tell you that right now.
I think that
If
he
makes it
might have put himself in a top 15 like draft space, and it's only because we have seen teams that they see the speed and they're like,
CC the
we
Raiders
gotta
with Henry
have
Ruggs.
we gotta have that guy, and they end up picking the guy way too early.
I agree, but the only way that
Henry
would happen
Ruggs,
is
that
if
was
a
that last
team.
example.
The guy, the record that he broke, John Ross was the same way.
Yeah, he was
John
a
Ross
top
had a
10
great
pick. He
year.
was a top 10 pick.
Set the combine record at that point in time with 4.22, and then he was a top 10 pick by the Bengals, and then the rest
We
is
saw
history.
what happened. So.
And so I do agree with you for the most
Darius
part.
Hayward Bay is another guy.
Right. It's going to take a team. A team is. I do feel like there may be a team within the top 15, top 20 that is like talking amongst themselves right now, like, hey,
Like, should
we consider this?
Yeah.
And it's based on simply the 40 because you throw on the tape, talented guy, don't get me wrong, fast as hell, very productive at the University of Texas. However, there were some red flags that came into play. He went into the combine. He measured at
165.
165, guys.
Felt like Emmanuel Forbes.
165. That is.
I do think he did that intentionally.
But to be fair,
I think he lost weight.
That's scary.
But
for
to-
his
Oh,
40.
But to
40,
be
you gonna walk
to
like
be
that?
fair though, we can also say that a guy like Tank Dell isn't the biggest of frame guys. Devontae Smith is not the biggest of frame guys, and they've been successful
Deshaun
as
Jackson,
of
his
recently.
idol.
Yeah, Deshaun Jackson. So it's like
Not example.
you don't always have to have the frame, but we do know that guys with that frame, the likelihood of them being like crazy good is definitely way lower than another guy's physically built.
Real quick to your point, yes, Tank Dell did, he did weigh that light or whatever, but when he was given an opportunity to kind of sort of show some level of physicality, he ended up hurting himself. That's the thing. Like it was one. I don't agree. I didn't agree with that particular play at that particular time of the game. Like I wouldn't want to send Tank Dell up the middle, within the 5, inside the 5. But that's neither here nor there. But Xavier Worthy is definitely a high riser. I definitely think he improved his stock, and he definitely could probably see himself taking it in the first round.
I always thought he was a first rounder, so his stock was where it was for me.
You have been
Period.
consistent.
Yeah, he was.
Well, that's
You
because
was-
for you want him for you.
You were
Well, no,
seeing
I always felt he was a first rounder. And my worry, my biggest fear was that the Chiefs would take him. That was always my biggest fear, which still would have been the first round. So I felt like he would fall in the bottom of the first, and I still feel like he's going to fall in the bottom of the first, personally.
Man, I swear.
Because Brian Thomas did what he did as well. So it's not like
4.33.
and people still have him ranked as the 4th best. And
Man, this
But
receiver,
I think Keon Coleman, we'll get to that.
this receiving class as a whole,
Yeah, it's
man,
crazy good.
So-
But I also
It
do think
is.
it's based off of need too.
who was your
I
high
had-
riser?
I had 2 dudes, so I was going back and forth between.
Okay.
I was
Alright.
going back and forth between Trey Benson,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think that he rose as much. I was just impressed that he ran sub 4.4 and
Mhm.
still being, when you watch his tape, he can do everything you need to do. He got the burst, he got the quickness, the agility, all that for a running back. There are a lot of teams who will be looking for a running back and won't want to pay one. But the person who I think bested their stock would be Xavier Legette. I feel like even though he underwhelmed with his height because people be lying at 6'1", but he's 6'1", 220. He ran a sub 4.4 and he got a 40-inch vert.
That was a 4.39 or something like that.
4.39.
Yeah, 4.39.
I'm thinking, especially having Debo as someone who came through that school too, and having the versatility that Debo do, and he's faster. I feel like the versatility and what people can see him doing, as well as just being able to be a deep ball guy and being able to get past people, go up and win balls, hit him at the apex, all that good stuff. Like being able to have that speed and versatility. I feel like, did I say? Y'all could have paused me if I say something. But I feel as though he did a great job at raising his stock.
Yeah. So for me,
Apex. That was where I was looking for. Apex.
yeah, for me, I'd have to say the
Y'all
one
trash.
guy that I feel like raises stock. There's 2 guys for me, but the one guy for sure is Peyton Wilson, the linebacker off of North Carolina State. I feel like he's a guy that he had the production in college, and he ran one of the fastest 40 time for linebackers. And it's like he's a guy that even in the drills, he was phenomenal. And when you're looking for a guy at linebacker that can pretty much is an all-around guy, he would be the guy. And most people on most people's draft boards, at least for the draft boards that I've seen by experts, analysts, what have you, he's been second behind Edgerrin Cooper. But I think that he could be a guy that can move into that first round just based off of the production on the field that he had, plus the fact that the 40 time and all the other drills that he was able to do well at the combine, he could be a guy that someone could say, hey, we want an all-around linebacker, middle linebacker. Let's go get this guy for our football team. So I think Peyton Wilson, linebacker out of North Carolina State.
When you watch the tape, that boy be moving.
Hey, he's a gamer.
He can run.
It definitely gave Micah Parsons, and he was wearing number 11 too.
Whoa.
Yeah. Hold on.
Easy.
It did. It did. That was the first person I thought of. It's
Hey,
tough
bro,
comparison. I understand.
Hey,
but that was the first player that I thought of, and that's water.
I was concerned. I thought it was just
That's
all.
not.
I thought it was all
That's
gin.
water.
I thought it was just all
crazy.
gin.
I don't even like gin like that. But it's again, it's one of them things like when you comparing Caleb Williams to Patrick Mahomes, it's like that's tough. You have 3 Super Bowls, a couple of MVPs, you know what I'm saying? But that was the first person I thought of in terms of the speed and how he was able to pursue the ball. Like when we think of Micah, it's just boom, he's there. Same thing I felt with Peyton.
I'm just gonna say Texas. Like
You're
AD
right.
Mitchell,
Tavon-
Xavier Worthy, Trevon Sweat,
Tavondre
Byron
Sweat
Murphy,
was-
like
Keelan Robinson.
I was
they
gonna
were going. Like it was depending on what position you wanted to go to. If you wanted to talk about the D line, they were the 2 highlights from Texas. I think AD Mitchell brought his stock into the first round as well because I think he was definitely more of a second round. But I feel like with his 4.34, right? So
Did not expect that.
Yeah, 6'4", 200 guy, same as Brian Thomas.
yeah, so the 2 of them. So I was sitting there, I was like, okay, this is what we're doing now. I'm like, all right, so if Brian Thomas is going to be in this conversation in the first round, I feel like AD Mitchell has found his way into this conversation. I don't know if he found his way to being in the top 5 conversation, but he's definitely on. Well, some people, Steve Smith Sr. has him as a top 5 wide receiver candidate.
Who?
So,
Oh, 80?
80, yes, now. Well, not even before the combine, he felt that way. And I'm sure now after he probably feels even stronger. So
looking at the tape, I felt the same way.
I got.
I mean, yeah, I think like the one thing that you can say is like people will say, okay, well, if you looked at duos, right, and we have 2 duos in this draft with Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas, and then you have the duo of AD Mitchell and Xavier Worthy. And it's like, obviously, like you can see that the production from LSU's wide receivers was better than the production of Texas's wide receivers. But then could you also say that, okay, if we're talking about the running game from Texas was better than the running game of LSU,
And
barring the quarterback,
and
right?
Jaden was
Like, so Texas had way better running backs because their running back, Jonathan Brooks, was the number 1 rated running back
and
in
last
this
year
draft.
it was Bijan.
And last year was Bijan. So it's like, of course, you know, they just don't air the ball out as much as LSU did this season. So you could say that maybe that is a reason why their production wasn't as high, but they're still good players. So they're in that same tier of at least, you know.
I put Brian Thomas, AD Mitchell, and Xavier Worthy all.
Yes.
They're-
Yeah,
they're
Malik
on that
Neighbors,
same tier.
everybody
All on
thinks
that
is
same
a
tier.
They're on
little
that
bit
same tier.
above.
They're on that same tier.
But those guys are in that same tier for wide receiver.
Real quick. Man, was I impressed with Tavondre Sweat. Okay. You're not supposed to run a 5'2" at 366 pounds.
Mm-mm.
And him to not have the worst 40, I was like, hey, that's
not only that,
golden.
but have a 10-yard split of 1.8.
Mm-hmm.
At 360, you're not supposed to move that fast. My God, that's a scary sight.
So we ain't got no JJ McCarthy high risers from y'all.
No, I was actually going to. I mean, you know what? I will. Pick up my point off that. Piggyback off that. I think JJ was. I was let down a little bit by his performance at the combine a little bit because I think that was an opportunity for him to truly separate himself from both Penix and Rattler and the rest of the guys. And I don't know if he truly did. I mean, his name is still going to come up in first round talks, understandably. But in order for him to include himself, I still felt like there was a gap between, of course, him, JJ McCarthy, and the other in the top 3. And I think the combine gave him an opportunity to truly close that gap somewhat. And I don't think he did. Inaccuracy came into play. And he didn't really impress or wow me with his throws. He had a lot of safe, crisp throws, but it wasn't like, man, it wasn't as if it was, I can build my organization around him. Like I didn't see that in him.
I think the only thing that JJ McCarthy did that really wowed me was when they did like the hardest throw competition.
Yeah.
How fast did he
and
throw?
he finished second. So,
Behind Joe Milton?
Yeah, behind Joe Milton.
Okay.
And it was only by 1 mile per hour. Now, do I think that he's really like that in terms of like him and Joe Milton having the same arm strength? No.
Mm-mm.
But do I think that that's something that I'll have to think about in the back of my mind? Like, hey, bro, if he really wants to fit something in, he can do so. Like, I'll have that in the back of my mind of like, okay, like I've seen him do this with Joe Milton and he compared. I'm like, all right, let me.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing that I do think he did to where I was like, okay,
Yeah,
he might.
he had a good combine.
Yeah, the
but
combine wasn't
in order
like,
for me
didn't blow my
to
mind.
for me to think he should be a top 15 pick, I needed to be wowed. And
Yeah.
I wasn't.
But I mean, I don't know.
I agree.
Who's your
I think you did fine though.
Low.
Like,
Yeah, it was
So
good. It was good.
Timing
it
was
it
right.
wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, and I still think he'll be a top 15 pick based off of need.
Just because he's a quarterback and
Just
his
based
name
off
is
of
yeah.
he sounds
Um,
very Giants-esque. That's what I'm gathering.
I'm starting to hear Minnesota.
I can see him in Minnesota.
probably sign Kirk for a little bit, unless they don't. But I figure they'd sign Kirk for another year or two and then draft him.
Oh, he wants
be there.
Kirk wants more than a year.
Yeah, Kirk.
All right,
Kirk's
2
gonna,
years.
Kirk's gonna need about 2 or 3.
And
I only give Kirk 2 personally, but who's your
I'm
low?
at 2.
So my low, and this is sad for me. Okay, because I really like this guy.
Is it Penix?
it's a Gator.
Is it
Florida
Keon
Gator?
Coleman?
Nah, he was gonna be one of my highs.
That's my low.
not Keon Coleman, no. The Gator. But this is actually so Audric Estime, running back for Notre Dame,
It's a big boy.
built guy, but boy, that 40,
It was slow.
it was
4.7?
horrendous. It was a 4.7.
4.71, something like that.
And not only that, was when he went through the drills, you could see his fluidity in the drills was not good. And I'm just thinking to myself, he went from, a top 3 guy on, a lot of experts' boards. And I feel like he could have a drop like Leggett had after the Senior Bowl, where he went from like 5 or 6 on most people's boards to some boards he dropped a 10 after that Senior Bowl performance. So it's like Estime might be one of those guys that he went from a day 2 guy to he might be a
Possibly
early
undrafted.
day 3 guy. No, I think he'll still get drafted, but I think he could be an early day 3, late day 3 kind of guy. Where you're just like, dog, like, because the production is there at Notre Dame. It's just that when you look at these physical measurables of the 40 and you look at his drills, you're just like, is that a guy built for the NFL? Because we've seen guys that are built in college and they go to the NFL and it's just like, bro, you're just too slow.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what might be his flaw. Is teams will be like, yo, you're just too slow, but you're not hitting the holes the way we need you to. Like, guys can't block forever for you to go ahead and hit your stride.
Yeah.
So that he's my
What about you?
my low.
Deuce.
Mine was Keon Coleman. I feel like for the same reason in terms of building on the Senior Bowl and running the 4.6 and things of that nature. It felt like even just watching him run routes, it was like, it felt a little just, he started off, I feel like, going into the season, especially when he was making all them one-handed catches and he had game 1 versus LSU where he had, 2-3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like, his stock going into this season was very high. And I feel like it's done nothing but plummet. And him, especially after seeing dudes come through and not be able to create space and hit, one of his things was he couldn't separate from corners, and him running a 4.6 doesn't necessarily help that. So he would have to be in a system that could just get him open. He would be more dependent on the team rather than his own individual ability. So I feel like for me, that was my disappointment.
I didn't, because I already knew.
I was
Expecting, because, for me, they say he's a contested catch guy, but he only wins 33% of his contested catches. So I'm like, you have some amazing contested catches, but your rate of winning isn't something that we saw like a Quentin Johnston where they like made it like this is their niche. This is their thing.
This
This is
is
all I
it's-
can do because I can't create space.
What's interesting with him as well is the fact that he was at Michigan State and he transferred this past season,
Mhm.
right? And while he was at Michigan State, he was a clear number 2. Jaden Reed was the primary receiver in that offense in East Lansing. He transferred to Florida State, became the number 1 guy, and his numbers lowered. His catches fell, his yards fell. Now he increased by 4 touchdown receptions, but everything else came down. So his role increased and his numbers got worse, which is interesting.
I mean, but I do think I do think the one thing with Florida State
Who that is?
is his, because they had Johnny Wilson. I feel like in the beginning of the season it went Keon Coleman, Johnny Wilson, and by the end of the season it's like Johnny Wilson, Keon Coleman. You're just like, was it because of just like the quarterbacks feeling more comfortable with Johnny Wilson at the end of the season because his numbers were dipping even before Jordan Travis.
I was going to point out you and I talked about that yesterday, and I was like, his numbers, he hit a wall before Jordan Travis got hurt. Like there was a 3 game stretch where he might have had 1 or 2 catches a game, and that was before Travis got hurt, and that was interesting to me, and that stood out. And I'm like, but given the type of draft, given the draft that we have, and it being the best group in the draft, and wide receivers are going everywhere, and everyone loves a 6'4" pass catcher, I still can see him going in the first round. Honestly,
I can't. But the only way that I feel like he does is because, like you said, right, last year Jaden Reed was the guy, and he was number 2, right?
Yeah.
And then we saw the year that Jaden Reed had as a rookie with with Jordan Love, where you're just like, he's way better than we thought he was. So then it's like, do people say, well, he played in that same system, he produced somewhat, maybe he is a guy that, because of the physical measurables of just being 6'4", 215, and having the catch radius that he has, that teams are like, you know what? Let's just do it. No. He's a day 2 guy now. But
I think he just needs to go to a team who like the Bucks.
I was going to say Carolina at 33.
See, I don't know what I don't know if Bryce Young is comfortable just throwing the ball up. Like, I know Baker is very comfortable with just throwing the ball up and giving this guy a chance. I don't know how comfortable Bryce Young is at that. That's the only reason he didn't come to mind for me.
Even having Mike Evans as a role model for the Bucks. But I didn't know if y'all was done. My cousin had a question for us.
Okay.
She asked, what do y'all think about Caleb Williams not participating in the combine and people saying that they're slandering him for his painted nails and overconfidence and not giving medical records?
Okay. Well,
what do y'all? Let's even get to that. Other quarterbacks and Marvin Harrison.
Let's get to that after everybody does their lows.
Well,
I think we
all did.
No, he didn't.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you said Keon was your low.
No,
I'm sorry.
that was your low.
No, that was your low.
I was just talking on your low.
Okay.
No. Troy Franklin. Troy Franklin. Like I expected a little bit more from his 40 time, and then even with his what do you call that?
Saying about you.
The gauntlet.
The gauntlet is when you run straight, right?
Yeah.
And he was really, he was that line.
Ain't a route runner. I'm trying to tell you.
It's not about route runner.
No, that plays a part.
Well, to me, if you're not able to run this straight line, it's because when you're backing up, it's like you can't just pluck the ball. You need to back up a little bit so that you can catch. Give you some time.
He's not a natural.
That's what I see when I see you not able to run in a straight. Because that ain't a route. We just run in a straight line. Can you run the straight line and just pluck?
That is a route.
So he's running.
No. I think that deals to more of you being a natural pass catcher.
Yeah,
than it is to you being able to run
along with you being a natural route runner, because in that aspect, you're not focusing on whether you need to back up to catch the pass or anything like that, because you're used to catch. When he was at Oregon, they just told him to run goes. And when you're running go route, there's no need to stay straight. But when you're running a deep in and you're running in between trash, you need to try to keep it as straight as you possibly can. He's not used to that, and that played a part. But I'm with you. The weaving in and out.
Yeah, I think it speaks more towards his hands personally. But that's another way of looking at it. So I mean,
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about it like that. That makes sense. I was thinking when you said that, I was thinking he might have been running toward the ball and going close.
Because
when
when
you
you think about it,
away from the ball
when you
every
think
time.
about it, like a slant route or like you said, like an in route, these are routes where it's like you gotta pivot on a dime,
Yes.
and you got to be able to keep going full speed while being able to catch the ball.
he
And
caught
it's-
everything like he was running a slant. That's what it gave. Because when he's running away from it, that's
Yes.
that's
I think
that's slant like.
to me it
Rather
was
than-
more.
Yeah.
To me it was more of like a drag or crosser route.
Yeah,
like.
same thing.
Because to
Fading
me,
away from the ball and catching
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
because I'm like, we know that like
Because the thing is, you have to, is if you're not assigned, if your route is not assigned to sit within a zone, you have to move as efficient as possible after you make your break, because there's defenders everywhere. There's a middle linebacker there, a free safety may be coming down to crash. There may be a corner, a slot corner there. You have to move precisely through that. Instead of just running the go route, you just go deep. That's all it is. So, but I do agree with you. That was a flaw that he showed. And then there were some times where he's
Yeah.
you're waiting for the
He's
ball to
not
hit your
able to
chest.
just pluck the
Yeah,
thing
instead
out.
of just
That just
I think it was it Ladd?
McConkey.
Lad was
Yeah.
crazy.
When
He,
I'm
yeah,
when
he
you
just went. He said, "Here's the line. I know how to walk a line, officer, and I'm just gonna catch it."
not only that, next time you guys watch that, right? I want you to hear the one thing that you want to see or hear is that ball smacking the gloves.
Dude, yeah, it
When
was.
you hear clean, those are crisp catches. That's the ball hitting the palms of your hands. And when you're doing that, that's the sound you want to resonate as you run
And he
that
ran
goal.
sub 4.4.
Yes. If I didn't have Shakir,
No,
I would get Lad.
no,
If I didn't have Shakir,
he's coming.
Hey, I hope so.
Word?
He's coming.
So-
Let's get Ladd.
all right. So the question, okay, Caleb,
Caleb Williams.
not doing
nothing.
not a thing.
Not giving no medical
did
record.
he need to? Why? I don't. He didn't.
Here's my question to your cousin: which one is worse, Caleb or Marvin Harrison? Because Harrison didn't even show. He was a no call, no show.
No,
And I feel like that's more disrespectful than
and
Caleb.
they're still going to be top 5 picks. At
But
worst.
to me, character wise,
It
we
doesn't-
all got a job. If we say we gonna be somewhere, be there.
when you
Well, he
when
was
you
he
are-
was there
No, I
for the
heard he
interview.
wasn't there.
No, he was there for
Caleb
the
was there.
interviews.
No, not Caleb.
No.
Marvin,
Marvin
yeah,
was
Marvin
there
didn't
for
show
the
up.
interviews. He wasn't there for the press.
for the presser. Yeah,
But he was there for the NFL.
His presence
interviews.
was there. He did.
He just
interview
didn't go
teams.
to the press conference.
He didn't do any of the media. He didn't want to do any.
So
of
that
the
was
media.
that's
and it was the same with Caleb. Caleb was
So
there.
to me, it's giving privilege. That's all it gives.
Well, it should
mean,
be.
yeah.
Privilege.
I mean,
It should be. Like
you're
you're a guy that you know for sure you're going first overall. Like what?
I like the Dunze, and I like people like that who they know that they're gonna go.
He
and
still
they're
ain't
gonna
going
go out
higher
there
than
and
Marvin.
compete.
He still ain't going higher than Marvin.
He's still
I
trying, he was working that three-point drill trying to get
but it does speak towards your character.
for sure.
What?
But at the same time,
It does, because you
There-
got a guy who also knows he gonna go in the top 10.
What does Caleb need to do
Do
to
worse?
improve his stock?
my thing is if
It's just your competitive nature.
you have a brand, right? This is a
It's just a
business.
competitive nature.
If you feel as
a
though
Dunze ain't do nothing to improve himself.
that's fair.
He just went out there to
But
compete.
I think
I
feel like with-
That's
like,
it.
but here's the difference is like it used to be that yes, we go in and you compete and whatever happens happens. But now because like you said, you have your brand, you have your stock. You don't like people say now that it's like there's no reason to compete because the only reason to compete would be to up your stock. But there's no way they can up it. The only way is they could decrease it. And there's no
the
reason to
combine
do
is
that.
so different now than it was 10, 15 years ago when you were or you still could have been the first overall pick. Back then, social media wasn't as heavy as it was, so you're not being picked apart with everything you do. Now, if you're Caleb, every move you make, every step you take in that stadium during Combine Week is everybody
Like,
knows about
that
it.
noise is just going to get louder and
Yeah.
What does
louder.
that matter? The only thing that matters
It-
is
what-
32 teams. Now,
No,
with
what-
social media
no,
is
no,
talking
But
about.
you don't want to. For one, you don't want to have to deal with that.
I don't.
And then for two, it's like, okay, even if I went out and it's like, dang, like I didn't have as good of a day as I wanted to, right? Now it's like the GMs, yeah, most of them are gonna probably be like, yeah, he's still our number one guy. But then it's like once the noise gets louder, it'll even hit the GMs where they're just like, huh, is he really the number one guy?
Then you're not a GM.
Like,
But
You come on, bro. You're not gonna let the public opinion affect your draft board.
But
Come on.
how many GMs have we seen that we're just like, bro, why did they do that? Why did they make that pick? Or why did they sign
Right,
this
they
guy?
stuck to
Right,
the board.
so
They ain't let the public.
no.
The public are looking at them like they crazy.
No, because we know guys who haven't.
But my
That's the thing that I feel like. It's like we feel like all these GMs, they're like, oh yeah, like they're great GMs, bro. Out of these 32 teams, we know half these GMs are gonna be like, bro, like, why are we making this pick? They're gonna be fired soon. We know this.
the thing is with your brand and your business and making sure that you're managing yourself properly, it doesn't necessarily have to impact your character and how you are going to represent a team and work hard and make sure that that team is getting your all. Like, it's nice to see early on that you don't necessarily care about the social media, or you just want to be the best and show that you're the best at every possible event. But the risk, like, there's more likely a chance, especially when you're number one, the only way you can go is down,
So,
right? Like, having the going out and competing in the combine didn't raise his stock. It wasn't going to raise the money he's going to get. He knows that he's going number one. Why mess that up? That's where I'm at.
There was a story that was out there. Of course, when you're at the combine, these prospects, they have formal and informal meetings. Formal meetings are the scheduled ones with teams and things of that nature. You know who you're talking to. You know who you're going to interview. So he had his formal interview with the Bears front office, that brass. And in that meeting, it was the head coach, it was the GM, it was the assistant GM, vice president, something like that. I guarantee you, and within that meeting, the word got out that was like his longest meeting of the entire weekend, which makes sense. They're going to determine your character there, not because you're out there throwing in a gauntlet, because they're still going to get that one-on-one with you. And teams they cherish that a little bit more than you going out there to compete in a t-shirt and shorts.
And Caleb got it on tape. Tape speaks for itself.
And I think the one thing is, like, we say, like, oh, like, he doesn't have that competitive spirit, or oh, like his character, whatever. But to me, at the end of the day, is the guys that were in the locker room with him at USC. Those are the guys that I feel like you should say, what was his character? Or like guys, whenever he gets to our locker room, what is his character like?
Or asking Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, or like there are a bunch of different ways that you can ask about character, and I think one of the things that came out of the combine was, it was like, oh, Caleb Williams made sure that he talked to everybody at the combine, even though like he didn't do a lot of extra stuff with, sending out his medicals and all that stuff. But he made sure he introduced himself to every like reporter at the combine, because he wanted them to know that, hey, like, I'm here and like
That
I'll
speaks
talk
to character.
with you.
I mean,
That just speaks to being a business.
And in addition
That's
to that, with his medical,
But not everybody does that.
in addition to that, with his medicals, I had no problem with him not wanting to push his medicals out there like that. Like, there's no reason for him to send his medicals to the Chiefs or the Bengals. Like,
so there was only one reason why, because there was a GM, I think it was on NFL Network, and he was like, the only reason why he felt like he should have was because, now I'm not saying this is like right or wrong, but it's just a different perspective, is he said that some GMs use this medical for if someone's in free agency, they'll go back to that as a saying, okay, like before he's in the NFL, what was his injury history, or what was his records like? You don't think
teams have a way to do that regardless?
I mean, if they did, then we wouldn't be worried.
Illegal.
I'm saying, if we did, then we wouldn't be worrying about this now.
Not without his permission, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't just.
Man.
If
Share
you want
it.
to illegal,
Okay.
you gotta share it.
Teams talk.
So
they'll find out the necessary information they need to find out about a guy.
Okay, but here's the thing that you said teams talk, right? But if he's only sending it to one team, that means that one team is the only team that can talk.
Okay.
So would they be willing to?
About if a player is in free agency, what you're telling me is that What you're telling me is that Ryan Poles is not going to talk to other teams if Caleb hits free agency in a situation like that.
About Caleb?
No. What are you asking? Like,
well, because the guy said that if a person hit free agency, what we're saying is if Caleb hit free agency, that they would ask that they would want to have that medical record.
Yeah,
for them in free agency, right?
Yeah,
but it's like if they don't, then they would have, like you said, they would have to go to the Bears, and the Bears would have to be willing to do that.
You don't think they would?
Why would they want to help out another team?
That's a good point.
It's free agency. They don't have to worry about
It
that.
would have to be out of pettiness.
Yeah,
in theory.
that's what I'm saying. Like you make
wait. So you don't think Raheem Morris is gonna, if he's interested in signing
Just
someone from the Rams,
signing.
you don't think he's gonna call Sean and say, "Hey, just tell me real quick, like what's up with this?"
that's not about medicals. That could just be about the player in general.
And that's
But
also different because
medicals
he
is
came from that
different.
staff.
It's
Medicals is a different thing.
No, it's the principle of you talking, like teams talk, bro. Like they're not gonna.
but this is just about medical.
They're gonna. Bro, okay.
That's illegal.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's going to impact.
That's what I'm
nothing.
saying.
It's
I
not.
don't know.
Like
I
you
think
can't
he's gonna be good.
He's gonna be all right.
Like you
He
can
will
say
be, but like I said,
They're
to
layers.
me, I'm sitting here and I'm like, you're still gonna go number one, whatever.
Right.
But I'm still sitting here like you're lacking a little bit of my competitiveness that I would have liked to see.
It's
I mean,
more
but-
cherry-
Personally,
Oh,
but I
cherry
still
on top.
draft you, but you ain't got that dog that I
But
want to
the-
see.
but the-
Hey,
That's
you
all.
know what? You know
Nobody-
what's
no, no,
crazy?
got that
Hold on,
dog
hold
I
on.
want to see.
It'll take one win, one game in his drive for that to go away.
No,
You ain't even
Yeah,
gonna
you
get
got
it.
yeah.
that dog in you.
As the entree,
You gonna forget
he
about
good
all
enough.
that.
Hey, look.
Combine is cherry on
I'm
top.
not challenging his talent. I'm
Hold
just
on,
saying
hold on,
you may
but-
not have that dog in you
but-
like a Dunze has, who
Okay.
came out here to compete
But
just
Stroud,
for the hell of it.
but Stroud didn't do that last year.
He didn't.
Stroud didn't throw.
didn't throw.
I don't think Stroud's a dog either. It's fine. You ain't got to be a dog to be good.
Okay, that's all we need to know.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
what I
okay,
said.
that's all we need to know.
That's
then.
what I said.
You don't got to be a
You
dog
ain't got
to
to be a
good.
dog to be good.
Okay.
No, absolutely not.
We can circle back to that. I feel like that's a good
No.
little topic.
Oh,
Dogs
sorry.
versus just good. I ain't
That's
never
what he
heard that
says.
before.
I mean,
Stroud ain't a dog.
We'll have our
He damn
conversation.
sure look like a dog to
depends-
me in
it
that
depends
season
on what
finale when the playoffs was on the line.
It depends on what your definition of a dog is,
Yeah.
but we can circle back.
Well,
Ask the Bucks if he a dog.
We'll get
Ask
into. All right,
Pittsburgh
Yeah,
if he a
Josh
dog.
Allen.
we did a lot more.
Ask the Bengals
Yeah,
if he
no,
a dog.
Josh Allen needs to settle down and
Ask
stop
the
being a dog.
Bengals if he a dog.
All
Ask the Colts if he a
right,
dog.
so let's move on. We spent a lot more time than you guys thought we would spend on this combine.
I figured as much. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of players, a lot of teams.
Players got tagged this week.
Players did get tagged this week.
Yeah.
You know what? Somebody
Any
take
surprises?
that. Somebody take
Any,
that.
I mean,
I mean, look, I think that I was surprised that Michael Pittman got tagged.
which is weird because
I didn't think he was that big of a deal that you needed to tag him and you couldn't just get somebody in the draft. That was where I was.
I'm a
at. I
little-
didn't think he was
I'm-
that big of a deal.
I'm
I
a
thought
little
you could lose him. You
I'm
could
a little
lose him.
disappointed.
can't.
I'm a little disappointed because I really don't think their reasoning for doing this is going to happen. But I was a little disappointed in the Bengals tagging T. Higgins because I feel like this problem is really going to grow into something next offseason and they're going to be in a bind because it's going to be time to pay Jamar. There's a decent chance that Justin Jefferson will be getting his money then, which is going to set the price tag for Jamar. And then you still got to pay him, your number one receiver, while also still having to pay your number two receiver. Like they're gonna have an issue, man. And I know they're trying to get something done between now and next offseason, but that's never a guarantee. And if it doesn't, they're gonna have a problem,
I
man.
thought that was smart for real. I wasn't opposed to them
Yeah.
tagging
You're
T.
delaying the inevitable.
Of course.
No,
But at the same time, if you're
no,
keeping
not,
together,
not necessarily.
if you have a way of keeping together that core and paying T's happy getting this money, like you getting Joe back who hadn't been healthy. Like I feel like their thought process is they want to run it back one more time with a healthy team.
If Justin gets 35,
I don't know.
Justin gets 35. Chase says I want 32.
No, I understand what you're saying.
You think they're going to give him 32 and then give T 20?
T's
No, or
gone.
20?
That's what I'm
No,
saying. I'm
yeah,
saying this is
yeah.
the last dance. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying
He
I'm
didn't
cool.
have to be gone if they would have just signed him when there's really no bar set, no price tag set.
Sign him at what though?
Bro,
We don't know how much T wanted.
Yeah. So
his market
no.
value was not even like his. I think he probably would have
But
came
his
in.
market
between,
value is at 20.
I think he would have came in between
I think
17 and 20.
Somebody would have given him a 25.
No.
No.
So here's the reason of why.
Not because
I think,
necessarily of his floor, but because of what receivers have been signed.
But
I feel like T can make a point that
I think
he was
this
more
is-
productive and he can get more money.
it's good that they tagged him, and the reason why I think it's good that they tagged him is because I think that for one, it opens up the ability to trade. Right. So if they do trade this man, they can get close to the compensation that they want, which could help them build out the rest of their team in the draft. So you could possibly get a first, but more likely a second for this man. And we know the wide receiver draft is pretty deep, right? So them being able to have the possibility of trade works in their favor. Like 3 said, he said, look, last dance. So you could say, hey, we'll still draft a receiver and be the number 3 while Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, they run it back one more time with Joe Burrow with that last dance mentality of, hey, let's see if we can win one with each other, right? So either way, even if they did that, it works in their favor because they have a guy that they drafted that they could slowly bring on to be that number 2 and then still have T. Higgins for at least this last season. So it's like, yeah, if they get him for nothing, like it's fine because they're still building out that other receiver that they drafted. And then I think that, they know that they can't, there's no way that they could long-term give this man a deal.
They don't have the money.
Because they don't have the money. Right now they have $40 million in salary cap, right? So it's like, you give him a long-term deal. Joe Burrow's deal is going to kick in next season to where it's like, okay, his cap hit is going to hit close to $50 million. Plus having to pay Jamar Chase. It's like it's so much like salary cap wise that it's like they could not pay him while keeping their main team intact.
There's no way.
With the guys defensively.
There's no way.
Plus everybody else. It's just no way.
They need to build their defense.
Yes.
Too. Like they need to find that
because
balance.
it's one of the reasons why they were able to get to where they got to the Super Bowl was because their defense stepped up with Hendrickson, with Hubbard, with Jesse Bates at the time. Like they needed those impact guys. So it's like if you pay everybody on offense, now the defense is struggling and not going to be able to make the plays that they made to get to the point that they got to in the Super Bowl.
Even just finding that line between Joe Burrow's production, especially in the big moments in the playoffs. Joe Burrow, he hasn't been underwhelming, but he hasn't been like someone who's taken over games in the playoffs. So I feel like if you build a defense, he's had his moments, don't get me wrong. But in terms of if you looking at numbers and looking at the course of the game, granted that first season, the Super Bowl run, he ain't had no line. He was running for his life. There's not much he could have done with what he was working with. But I'm trying to find that balance like the Chiefs did with Mahomes this year, having a great defense and working with what you got and making the throws when you need it to. Joe Burrow can be that guy from what we've seen. He has the moxie. He can make all the throws. Finding that line, I don't think that he necessarily needs a T to be successful. That was where I was going.
Yes.
Oh, no, they need a T.
No.
I don't think so.
No, they don't.
I think if they have Jamar and
I'm sorry. No. They need, in order to get where they want to get back to, they need a T.
No, they
not
don't.
necessarily a T. I feel like they need someone who can make plays.
Like T.
Not like T.
Bro, look.
Plays.
If they draft a guy that ends up being what Jordan Addison was, they'll be okay. Because they'll have Chase still. Chase still gonna have his year. And if they have another guy that can be what Jordan Addison is, they don't need T. Higgins.
Jalen Polk.
They don't need him. So that like they can get a guy if like
you need a guy who can be as productive as T is what I'm saying. If you don't get a guy who's going to be,
so that's basically a guy that can get to 1,000 yards. That's cool. They can get a guy like that in the draft.
Wouldn't you? There are people who feel like T. Higgins, if he goes to another team and has the opportunity to be a 1, he could actually be a 1.
It depends on where he goes.
It depends on where he goes, but I get the sentiment.
If he falls, in Carolina,
but like there's a few guys that are 2s that could command that sort of cachet in free agency.
And I feel like Higgins and Ayuk are 2 of those 2 people.
Waddle.
Yeah, sorry. Yes.
Devontae Smith.
I don't know. He had the opportunity.
I don't know about him being number 1.
What are you talking about, the opportunity?
AJ wasn't always there. He had an opportunity. They got AJ for a reason.
Bro,
they got AJ for a reason, if you ask me.
Yeah, this is crazy because Devontae Smith's production is better than T. Higgins.
They had an undeveloped.
Yes, with AJ, that's fine.
No, even before AJ,
before they even got AJ, before they even got AJ, they still had an undeveloped Jalen Hurts at that point in time.
Yeah, a real quick breaking news: according to Tom Pelissero, the Bills have agreed to terms.
Yes, we already.
That was what that was. He showed me something different. He showed me Taylor Rapp.
Yes, Is there something else? Oh, Mitchell Trubisky? Yeah.
He returned to Buffalo. That was
Yes. Possibly. It's
Paul-
not agreed upon
You
yet.
paused
all. Agreed
the
to terms.
Yes,
I
but
just
they're
want to throw it
leaving
in
it
there.
open.
It was Bills related.
They're leaving
We're
it open.
halting the show for Mr. Trubisky.
I know.
Bills related.
We got a whole Bills thing coming up.
We do? Okay, my
No.
bad. I was trying to go ahead. That's your team. I was trying
Stop
to
the
make sure
show
you
for
understood.
Mr. Trubisky.
Carry on.
Go ahead.
My God.
We was talking
All,
about team.
I'm saying is Devontae Smith, when you look at his
Wrap it up.
numbers and
Alright.
T. Higgins' numbers, when you talk about peak, Devontae Smith has had a better peak than T. Higgins. When we talk about yards, touchdowns, he's had a bigger peak. And if you want to, and you're saying that he couldn't be on that same level, like I think that's pretty crazy when they both have other receivers beside them, and yet Devontae Smith had better numbers than T. Higgins.
Let's see.
I personally feel like if they felt like he could be a 1, they wouldn't have got AJ. That's
So-
just how I feel.
Okay, but if
about it.
that
Looking at
was the case, and you could say the same with why did they get Jamar Chase after T. Higgins?
I don't know. Do you think that they got Jamar Chase to be a 1, or did you think that they got Jamar Chase because they needed another wide receiver
to be a
with Higgins?
1.
To be a 1 with
You thought
with the quarterback that he just played with.
Like, come on now.
Jamar was a 1 at LSU.
I personally thought that they just got him because A, best player available, but 2, also because they needed somebody to play beside T. I didn't
No.
think that they brought him in expecting him to be better than T.
No, they
I
absolutely
didn't
did.
personally
Nah,
He
I
just
thought-
he
bro.
just played an entire Heisman campaign with that same guy
Oh,
as
no,
the number
I
1.
understand that. So
they,
that's what
they
I'm
brought
saying.
him in to be better than T. Bro.
I don't know if they brought
absolutely did.
Yeah, they did.
In terms of
All right.
Devontae, he
Well,
did have 8 catches for
all right.
148 in the playoffs.
All right, I'm going to move past this.
Okay.
Because I wasn't trying to spend all the. We talked about T last episode and the franchise tag, and we talked about him again.
That's cool. Oh, in terms
True
of
enough,
other
true
tags.
enough.
Yes,
Other tag
there were a
players.
lot of
Okay.
other tags that happened
So-
besides T.
So,
you're talking about Michael Pittman.
obviously we talked about Michael Pittman, which I think that it was a good move on them to tag him because not only did he already say that he'd be willing to play on the tag because he doesn't mind it. So you have that going for you to where you can just take him off the market off rap and you can still get a long-term deal done with him. So I think for the Colts, that was good because it doesn't have to be a bidding war. They can just go ahead and tag him and then get a long-term deal done before the summer hits to where they don't have to worry about anything.
Right.
So for them, I think that's good.
I'm going to give you the list. So safety, Kyle Duggar got
Yep.
tagged.
Antoine
Antoine Winfield
Mhm.
tagged. Jalen Johnson, Bears,
Mhm.
tagged. Josh Allen, linebacker, Jacksonville, tagged.
Alpha linebacker,
Justin
Madubuike?
Thank you.
Madubuike.
Yes. Defensive tackle, Baltimore, tagged. Brian Burns, Carolina, tagged. And then obviously we know L'Jarius
Thought we had a
Sneed
shot.
is going to be tagged and traded most likely.
Yeah,
Which is why also I think that they may go corner in the first round, but we'll see.
I like that the Bucks not necessarily committing to a complete rebuild. They're still bringing back some of their main guys to go at it again, and I feel like that speaks to their confidence in winning the NFC South. It's really the Falcons to go and get. If y'all get a quarterback, it looked like it should be y'all.
It's
but
a
the-
wrap for them. Yeah.
But the Bucks, I like
Well, I
that
mean,
they
it'll still
are.
be a
No,
good-
it's
it'll
a
be
wrap for
competition.
No, it's a wrap.
I like that the Bucks are
It'll be a
still trying to.
competition.
If you hit on the quarterback, it's a wrap.
The problem
I'm-
with that is you
saying.
better, for the Bucks' sake, you better hope that 2024 equates to a playoff spot because if it doesn't, you're gonna be starting from scratch soon.
Yeah.
You're giving out all this guaranteed money, thinking that this is going to be, a consistent thing going forward with Baker and Mike and the rest of the guys. But if they
Not
enter,
necessarily consistent.
it has to be. You're not
Not
bringing.
necessarily.
you're
I'm
not-
thinking so. The way I would think about it, if you were
You're not
signing
bringing
Mike
back-
Evans for a couple years, if you only have
You expect to go to the playoffs those 2 years.
not necessarily.
I mean,
Not
if they go
necessarily.
to the,
I'm
let
thinking
them
it's
walk
more.
then.
If you bring in a young,
Hold
I'm
on.
thinking if you bring in a young quarterback,
But
having
they're
a
not. They're
I'm about to say
bringing in
Baker.
They're bringing
No,
back
but I'm-
Baker and giving him 40.
Yeah, they're bringing Baker.
if
Well,
they
how-
bring back
wait, how long is Baker being signed for?
At least 3.
Okay.
Look,
Never
he-
mind.
hey, look,
You're
he-
expecting
hey,
to make in the playoffs.
He ain't signed yet, so let's.
They're
I don't think they.
I
should
was
first.
thinking that they are using Baker to transition into somebody else. That was what my thought process.
not with that price tag.
would have been.
That's gonna
Nah, I
be
think they'll
that's
feature
an
I
ex-
don't think he
that's
get
gonna
it.
be an expensive
Daniel
bridge
Jones?
quarterback. Yes, yeah, 40.
I guess he
But
earned that.
but
He
to
had a
be
good season last
fair,
year.
hold on. But to be fair, I think
tough.
it depends on what Baker wants to do. is he going to want to be like Daniel Jones, or is he going to want to be like Geno Smith did, where your cap hit is 30 and you're able to still invest in the rest of the team? Because he might be at a point in his career where he's willing to do that because
Personally,
he
he
just
ain't
wants.
better
And
than
Baker-
Geno, so he
Well, the
should
thing
get
is, Baker
more.
Baker may also be looking at this as
Well,
this
him and
is
Geno have the
I
same
don't know about that.
resume.
You don't know about what?
No, yeah, him
Geno
and-
being better than Baker?
I
yeah,
don't think,
they
I
have
think
the
they're
same resume.
I think they're
4
the same.
years
No,
for
I'm
20, that's
saying that-
30
I
a
feel
year.
like they're the same.
But then that's the
4 years,
case saying,
85
but you can also
guaranteed.
say
You're
they're
not bringing
better than
85
Daniel Jones.
guaranteed just to be
Yeah, that was
No,
a
that's
transitional
But
quarterback.
that's what
I
we're saying.
understand.
So
I know
it's
you're
like
right with that part. I'm talking
he
about
could
money.
ask for that, and it would be doable because Daniel Jones has that.
Well,
But I'm saying that even though Daniel Jones has 40, you could say that, hey, you are in
Again,
a like,
Baker-
you're in an
Baker-
organization where it's like we want you back with these pieces. Can you take less so
Baker-
you can be in a stable
Baker may
position?
also be looking at this and saying, this may be my last long-term deal because he's 29.
Nah, he's not 29 yet.
Yeah, he's.
I mean,
he's
no.
good. So this may. I'm not saying he may not have another 5, 6, 7 career years under his belt. He may, but this may be the last 4-year deal he may get. From here on out, it may be those 2-year deals where one is
He'll be
guaranteed.
29 next year.
Yeah,
He
so
turns
he's-
29 in a month.
So
Yeah.
So this may be his last one. So he may be trying to get as much dollars as he can get on his last long term.
But that's the thing, though. I don't think he can because if they just signed Evans to 26, I don't think they have the cap space to feel like for him to even feel like he can just break the bank. It's not doable.
Sport Track is
Not break the
projecting.
bank.
Sport Track was projecting a 4-year, $120 million deal, $85 million guaranteed.
So that's so if they did that because they would have to do a long term deal because if it's not long term they can't spread the money.
Which is why I said he may just be saying, "Let me get what I can." Right.
Yeah. So a 4-year, what you say, 120?
Now. 120, $85 million guaranteed.
Oh, bro, that's easy.
I was just saying,
That's easy because that's only
the Bucks
30 million.
pieces. That's all I was saying. I like that keep it a couple
Look, that's
pieces.
30 million per year, which is basically a Geno Smith contract. You can work with that.
But it goes back to my point, where in year 1 of that deal, you ain't making the playoffs.
No, that's okay.
No, that's not okay.
It's not okay for them, but it's okay for Baker and everyone else because if they made it 1 out of those 2 years, nobody's gonna say it's a failure because it's the Bucks.
And they got so many free agents, the linebackers. You know what I'm saying? They
Yeah,
brought back
it's-
Mike and
like I'm
Antoine,
saying,
but they're going to have a completely different team next year.
they should just clean house. To me, they should have just cut their losses now and kept it pushing.
That's what it sounds like.
And
But
started
Nah, they
I
don't.
like that they staying with it. At least like keeping some sort of semblance of a
Stability, 'cause
foundation.
you never know that it
Stability.
could get better.
They're not. Is this? Are we? The goal is to win a Super Bowl, right?
In theory.
Is this constructed roster good enough to win a Super Bowl?
No.
You can
All right,
say
so
that, you
let's
can say
start
that about
the
a lot
process.
of teams.
But and we'll sit here and say you held on too long. Let's cut our losses and let's restart the
bro,
process.
there's only
Let's
like
start the process.
there's only like 4 to 6 Super Bowl contenders that we actually feel
and
like.
then there are teams who we acknowledge as building their roster. Right now, they're just lingering. They're going to be in limbo. They're going to be
Well, it depends on
what
what
the
it
Commanders
depends on what they draft.
have always been. They're going to win too many games to
We
be
not in
No,
limbo.
no,
Oh,
quarterback limbo. Yes,
Quarterback.
But they're
Yes.
not in that.
Okay, fine.
They are.
They're not.
They are because
can be.
Baker's not the guy.
I'm
Okay,
not gonna,
that's what I'm saying.
I'm not
You're
gonna
gonna
sit
be in
here.
limbo.
No.
I'm not gonna sit. I'm not gonna sit here.
Say that.
I'm not going
I
to
don't-
sit
I don't
here
wanna
and say
say
they
that.
are in limbo, but what I will say is that they very well could be, especially if year 1 and 2 of these guarantees you're giving to Baker,
Look.
and next thing you know,
Also,
hold on. But if you
got
don't
you.
make the postseason the first 2 years, I'm going back on what he said. Like, what was the purpose of all this?
So
Baker,
so okay,
before you say
okay.
that,
But
Baker
they
Baker's
don't-
better than anything the Commanders have had since.
No,
Kirk Cousins.
okay.
hold on.
He's their Kirk right now.
So
What are we
well,
doing?
Well, now,
We're in limbo.
let me ask y'all this
I would
question.
take Kirk back
Well, let me-
if I had the
well,
opportunity.
Let
to.
me
Why?
ask y'all
He's
this
not
question.
the guy.
Hold on. Let me ask y'all this question.
Again, if we was gonna win 8 games a year, I would at least
hold on.
want
Let me
to
ask
see
you
some
this question.
competent football
Let me ask you
play.
this. Let's say Seattle doesn't make the playoffs again in 2024. What do you think about this? Because it's a similar situation. What do you think about that situation then? Where you've given Geno this amount of money and you added these pieces, and with these added pieces and all these resources, you still missed the postseason 2 years in a row. Let's just hypothetically say that happens. What are you going to look at with that situation? You're going to be saying, at least, I guess Cornell and I will be saying, bro, it's we're going to have to move on from Geno.
But like, I
We're-
feel like
but-
we're
and
paying-
you're 2 years
we're-
too late.
hold on.
We're paying him
Already
too
done
much
that.
to be
No,
watching
no.
the playoffs at home every year.
no. Paying him too much and paying him $30 million.
Bro,
that's the least amount of starting quarterback money, so it's easier
My
to move
rookie's
on from.
cheaper than that.
It's
my rookie gonna get $30 million
No,
over 4
you
years.
have
Yeah.
one.
I could get one and let you go. That's what I'm saying. Let me restart.
No. And see,
You
this
doing the
is- hold
same
on.
results as my rookie.
No.
You
this
getting the
is-
same results as my
this
rookie,
is-
or
Would you? We don't know if a rookie quarterback's going to hit in year one as a rookie.
They
We don't know
They
that.
definitely want.
But
Some,
if my-
they,
hold
hey,
on.
they
So-
definitely want some games with Drew Lock playing. That's all I'm saying.
no. My point.
Yeah,
was-
but he's not a rookie. He's been
It
in the
don't
league.
matter.
He started
He's
before.
cheaper. He's much
my
cheaper than
rookie-
Geno.
My rookie will either miss the playoffs or get into the playoffs, but not get to a Super Bowl. Baker will either miss the playoffs or get to the playoffs and miss the Super Bowl. Either way, it's the same result. You're not gonna get to the chip,
for less money.
so we might as well just go ahead and start
Okay, so
over.
if that's the case, so if you have a guy that's going to the playoffs but not making it to the Super Bowl, do you start over?
Going to the playoffs and not making it to the Super Bowl. So Dak Prescott.
Depends
Yeah.
on his level. Yeah, I have already been on board of them trading him
Haven't we
away
been
and
saying
starting
that for the
over.
When we
last-
talked about it, I was
No,
definitely
but-
Dak
but-
and Mike
hold
both
on.
had to go,
Hold on.
but I knew both of them was going to stay.
But I'm
That's
saying
what I was
any quarterback.
No, it depends.
So if we
on
go-
the
hold
level.
on,
No,
hold on, no.
it depends on the level of the quarterback.
But Dak Prescott's the best example.
Because
of that.
no, what I don't need him to do is flip
Yes.
it and be like, so should the Bills get rid of Josh Allen? No, it depends on the level of the quarterback play. I'm not going to have you already
The
set up
Cowboys
I-
have lost
I-
because of
I
Dak
wasn't gonna
rather
say
than the
Josh
Bills
Allen,
losing because of
but-
Josh Allen.
because you know the top quarterbacks who have the
Cowboys lost to
ability
that
to
defense
get
got
to a
shredded.
Super Bowl. You know who they are. If you're
Yeah.
not, if you don't have one of them, then go get you one. Why are we wasting time with a guy who ain't
Because-
one of them? You know who those guys are.
I'm with
Wait,
you on
wait.
that.
My thing is, I'm not getting rid of Baker. I don't mind if you draft a quarterback, and because to me, a situation like this is a situation of what I would do with the Packers model. I'd be like, hey, we got a guy that we paid.
Yeah,
Cool.
Everybody can pull that off. Well, we can draft a surefire starter in the first round and let him sit for 3 years.
But that's the
They're
thing.
the only
like,
team that we know.
that's
the
the thing,
only
though.
team that's been
And
able to
it
do
was
that.
Hold on,
risky
hold
because
on.
how much time did
It
they sit here and
absolutely
say, if
was
this
risky.
don't work out,
It absolutely
like,
was.
But here's the thing that people, I feel like they be missing the point because they be like, oh, what if it doesn't work out? But the thing is it usually does because they draft a guy that has the physical tools. That is what the main thing is. And then you have them in your system for a few years, and you're
Really?
like,
It
yeah.
usually works out that way?
So if Derek,
That's usually
so if Derek
like,
Carr,
what other
if Derek
teams-
Carr, if Derek Carr and the Saints don't make the playoffs this year, what should they do? Stick with Derek?
no, it's draft a guy.
They should
They should still stick
Hold
with.
on,
They
hold
should
on, hold
stick
on.
with Derek because Derek is under
on.
contract.
Why do you? But why do you need to stick with him?
Hold
That's
on.
the thing.
Hold on.
Because you let a guy not just having to throw him in the fire, you let him build up his confidence during the preseason and during the regular season. He's in the quarterback room. He's getting the fundamentals of being a quarterback in the NFL. And then once he feels like it's his time, but you can
So
put him
di-
in.
so
and
Denver-
play.
hold on. Did
So
the
Denver-
Patriots? Did
Denver-
the Patriots successfully do that?
So Denver should have
Did
kept
the
Russell.
Patriots successfully do what you were just saying?
They never did that.
So Denver should have kept Russell.
They didn't do it because they couldn't find a guy to back him up who could be his predecessor. Because they traded him away. His name is Jimmy G, and he ended up not being a guy either.
So
If they just held on to Jimmy G
Well,
and did what
no,
you saying,
no.
then they would have been screwed too.
No, because Jimmy G was able to win. Did he not?
Win what?
He got to a Super Bowl. He was winning.
In the
He-
NFC
no, we're
Championship
talking
game,
about-
he
we're
threw
talking
like
about-
7 passes, 8 passes. They did not win because of Jimmy G. He was just
Bro,
there. He was
bro.
along for the ride.
We all can sit here and say Jimmy G is not the guy. We all can sit here and say Jimmy G is
But,
not.
but
would
we
not
also
build my team around Jimmy
when did they
G.
draft Jimmy G?
I don't know. Somebody looked at it. I don't.
It was
I
in the
don't have
4th round. I think.
that. Oh,
it
I
was.
thought you meant when is in the year.
No,
Okay,
I'm
sorry.
I
talking
thought it was the
so-
third.
I thought it was in the second.
No.
He was drafted second round, 62nd overall.
Okay.
End of the second round.
Okay.
End of the
Okay.
second round.
There goes that point.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Second round. But did we see Jimmy G as having these physical measurables? Do we have Jimmy G? He was just a good quarterback that was at a FCS level. And yeah, they went with it. Cool. But I'm talking about you get a guy
Like
okay. So in this
This
draft
year's
right
draft,
here,
we're here.
if I'm Seattle, I'm drafting JJ McCarthy.
So when
What are the
so,
Bucks doing?
So when do
If
when
I'm the Bucks, if I'm giving Baker a deal now,
Mhm.
I'm not drafting a quarterback this year.
But
I would draft a quarterback in year 2 or 3.
Given the fact that your favorite team hasn't made the playoffs since 2017, and they had a 4-5 year stretch where they were paying Matt Ryan a lot of money and were missing the postseason. At any point, did you ever feel like, man, maybe they should move on from Matt to save some money? Or you felt like they should have kept Matt as long as possible, even though there was no postseason results that came from that?
No, so with that being the
Exactly.
case, with that being the case, I thought that Matt, up until the Justin Fields draft, I was like, okay. I said,
It's 2020.
yeah. I said
So that's 4. No, that's 20.
because Matt was still
That's
playing.
21.
Matt was still playing at a good level. So for me, I didn't feel like
So
I didn't.
you were fine paying Matt the money that we were paying them
Yep.
between 2018 and
21.
2021.
Yeah.
Even though they were not making the playoffs, you were fine with that.
Bro, we literally just came out of the Super Bowl for 2017. So it's 3 years after that, right? And at that point, I was like, okay, Fields is here. We are in a spot where we can pick a quarterback.
That's besides the point. I don't care about the draft. I'm
So-
asking you specifically about in 2018, 2019, 2020. They missed the playoffs, but they were still paying Matt money, and his cap hit was getting bigger by
How do
the
you
year.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would not have minded.
That's-
I would not have minded if we picked a quarterback. No.
He's still not answering the question.
What's the question?
My question is, were you fine with paying him that money, knowing that you were not seeing postseason results?
rather
At
than
the-
cutting,
at-
rather
rather
than
than
cutting
cutting
ties
at the time,
and then
yes.
starting fresh.
At the time, yes. Because we still had a team that I felt like could make the playoffs. But
They went 4-12 one year and started 0-5.
But we
another
also
year.
knew that Julio Jones was injured and a bunch of other
I'm
things
just-
happened.
What does making the playoffs mean?
Yeah, like
That's
I'm
where
not
I'm at.
competing to make a playoff.
No, because making the playoffs means you have a chance for a Super Bowl.
But you know
No,
you
no.
don't realistically have a chance.
The
Yes,
Bucks
you
made the
do.
playoffs this year. Were they making the Super Bowl? No.
It was a
No.
possibility.
No, there was no possibility.
No.
No,
You
my
have
bad, my
this-
bad. They had maybe a
No.
half a percent
No,
chance
because
to make the Super Bowl.
Hold on.
Sure.
No.
I have a percentage. I can win the lottery.
Let's be
There's a chance. I
honest.
can win the lottery. I can make money like that.
But that's the thing that we've seen throughout NFL history, where we've seen teams barely make it in and make it to a Super
Just
Bowl.
the Giants.
And I'll be honest with
Just
you.
the Giants.
Just the
And
Giants.
I'll
Even
be-
the- even
and
the
I'll be-
Falcons.
and no,
But
and I'll be, hold on,
back
hold
in
on.
the
But I'll be
late
honest.
90s?
But I'll be honest with you.
You
Hold
said
on.
late 90s.
But I'll be
It
honest
is
with you.
true.
And
I'll be
Eli,
honest
as a
with you.
quarterback, had to
Hold
make
on.
plays for that to happen. Go ahead.
But I'll be honest.
Like,
Starting
come
in
on.
with that 2018 season for the Falcons, where that first season they didn't make the postseason, and then the very next year they went 4-12. I'm looking at it and saying, man, this ain't good. You went from being a Super Bowl contender to 4-12 in 2 years, and I'm looking at it and I'm saying the money's adding up. Those contracts are getting heavier, and I'm like, you put yourself in a point where now 2021 is here, and you ushering in a new head coach, and he has to take on a 37-year-old quarterback that's getting paid almost $40 million. That in all likelihood he didn't want to keep, but he had no choice because that contract was there.
CC
That
Daniel Jones.
That can kept getting kicked down the road. And what Cordell and I and Eric are saying is this looks like the Bucks continuing to kick that can down the road. And if it doesn't equate to anything, it's damn near
But you're
pointless.
not paying a quarterback hella money. You're paying him
But you're
$30
paying
million.
him.
But
He's
I'm
saying
paying you to do
if
the same thing that my rookie can do.
if you're paying
Could
somebody
he?
30 mil,
Yes, because my rookie ain't getting to the Super Bowl either. So
that's the point.
that's my point.
If you're paying a dude $30 million, what is the expectation?
He better win some games.
Right? What do you want from that $30
If
million
you go
quarterback?
5-12 every year, that ain't good.
You want your
but
team
we're
to win the
not-
Super Bowl.
But we just said that if he made it to the playoffs 1 out of 2 years, like,
But we
but
also
we're not,
said,
that's not 5-12 every year.
listen, but
I would rather lose and get in a position like the Commanders.
We
get number
also-
2 pick,
we
but
also-
you go get a new quarterback.
said you would take Kirk Cousins back.
I
you
would
just said
have,
that.
but we didn't. I did say that. You're right.
Yeah, so I don't know what
So
you
I don't know what
I
he's
don't know
talking
you are
about.
I'm saying no. I'm not
Because
talking
what
about right
we
now.
say
I'm
is
saying
we
if we
wouldn't
would have
do-
signed, I'm sorry, my bad. Let me clarify. If we would have kept Kirk and kept that foundation, I would have felt a little better. I don't know if I would have gotten to the point like with Matt Ryan, where okay, he reached his peak and seeing where that peak was, like okay, this isn't worth it anymore because we need other pieces. He's not going to be able to maximize whatever he brings to the table. Let's cut our ties. right? I'm saying that we've had bad quarterbacks that have overachieved. We have the Taylor Heineke, who's a backup quarterback, overachieved to where we have won 6, 7, 8 games, not made the playoffs, but can't get a new quarterback to fix what we got going on. So what's the point of doing all of this to still not make the playoffs? If you're making the playoffs, losing in the first round, and your goal is to win the Super Bowl, what are we doing? Just might as well just lose, get a good player.
But the Bucks
Since
won.
nobody
The
gonna
Bucks
pull
have
out-
won. They won a playoff game.
Let's move on.
Like I don't
Because
like,
you signing Mike Evans for what? Why am I keeping Mike Evans?
bro.
Why am
All
I keeping Baker?
Not only that,
all
why is Mike Evans staying
All
there?
I know is
Because he's probably
Baker
been-
Mayfield won the
Let's
same
go
amount of
ahead.
playoff games Josh Allen
let's
did.
Here we go.
He won the same
Here
amount
we
of
go.
games.
This is what
He
I'm
won
saying.
more. Hold on, no, wait.
Let's
He
move
won
on.
more playoff
Let's
games than
move on.
Tua.
Let's
He's
move
won
on.
more playoff
Let's move
games.
on.
He won the same amount of playoff games as Jared Goff.
Let's move
Like,
on. Let's move on. Let's
I
move
mean,
on.
no,
Absolutely
one
not.
more than Jared Goff.
You,
One less than Jared
this is
Goff.
why
But-
I already told you at the beginning before you took your shot at Josh that he is not in the conversation of guys who can make it. So I
Real
don't
quick,
know
hold on,
why
I got
you
you.
keep
Look,
But it's
Hey,
not.
hold on,
It's
hold on,
not.
I got you.
It's
Look, I
not
got one
about
question for
being
you.
in the same
No, I
conversation.
I got one
question.
question.
Because
Hold
he's
on,
not
wait.
getting paid that way.
If Baker Mayfield went to the
He's
Falcons,
not
are y'all winning the Super Bowl?
No.
Thank you.
Why?
That's it. That's it.
Then move
Ba-
on.
Baker needs everything
You just
to win a Super Bowl.
stalling the inevitable. You're gonna have to get a
No, you
quarterback.
don't.
20 and
Alright.
10.
No, you
Alright,
don't.
that to
you
me-
can.
That
You
to
can.
me is losing mentality.
No, it's
I'm
not.
holding on to a guy who can't get me where I want to be.
You have a bridge guy and get a guy to get you where you
No,
need to be.
The majority of quarterbacks today do not sit behind somebody and develop. They get put on the field and we go. And you learn on the job. We do not just sit anymore and wait for you to develop over 3 years. There's only one team who has done that.
The Packers.
That's it. Everybody
Pat
else
Mahomes sat.
grabs 1 year. You're talking about a 2-3 year thing that you want to sign
What's
Baker
wrong with
to?
2 years?
Bro, let's go. Let's get this thing
And see,
rolling.
and you know what? The bad thing about this is if you pick the wrong guy, now what? You just got to keep picking guys until you find the right guy.
Yes!
But if you're already losing,
that's the
no.
system. That's
No.
how it works.
if you're
No.
already losing and not getting to where you want to be, why not just
You
start
ain't-
fresh?
hold
no,
on,
no, no,
hold
no,
on,
no, no.
Marcus. So if
You-
I
You're
pick-
saying if you're already losing, bro, they're winning games.
they're not winning the game.
But you're
that
just saying
matters.
they're not winning the Super Bowl.
So let's move on.
We're not competing for a Super Bowl.
We're not.
No.
You're not competing for a Super Bowl.
I want a Super Bowl.
so
That's what I want.
so basically, what you're saying
if
is
you don't
I-
believe
hold
your
on.
quarterback
No,
will win a Super Bowl,
No,
yes.
out of all the teams that are in the NFL, how many of them are actually competing for a Super Bowl?
That's not what I'm talking about.
Nope.
That's not
Because
what
how
I'm-
many?
Realistically, maybe like 6 to
So
8.
then the rest of the teams can just
No,
choose a new
depends
quarterback.
on it.
No.
Again,
Okay, no,
context,
no,
context
hold on.
matters.
Because I'm sitting here and I'm saying, no, I don't think CJ Stroud right now is competing for one, but I know he will be.
How do you know that?
Because of his level of play this year, unless he massively falls off and he continues this trajectory, he's in route. So when if I'm
For a Super Bowl.
You can
yes, he
yes.
is.
You
His
can see
level
it.
of play that he has demonstrated in his rookie year, if he continues on said route, he will be at a level to compete for a Super Bowl. Now, will he get there? I don't know. But he will be at a level able to compete for one. And we will sit here and say he's in a conversation. The Texans are in a conversation to compete for who we think can get to a Super Bowl.
You can be in
The
the
line for me is
conversation
The
without
Bucks
being an
are
elite quarterback.
not in the conversation with Baker.
You can. No,
You
you're
can
not wrong.
in the
But again,
conversation
is
with
Baker
Baker.
Mayfield better than Brock Purdy?
Is he
No.
better?
No.
I don't know.
No.
No, you know.
No.
No. The answer is no. The answer is no.
No.
We've seen Baker have the opportunities. I think if Brock Purdy against the Lions, the same throws that Baker missed, the vision, looking for
We
things.
saw Brock Purdy miss throws
Hold on. I'm sorry.
before.
Hold on.
This is a missed throw.
Baker Mayfield had a chance to beat the Chiefs without Mahomes in the second half and couldn't get the job done
He did do that too.
in the playoffs against Matt Castle. He could not
No,
get
no,
the job.
No, Matt Castle was the
Chad Henne, sorry.
no,
I'm sorry.
no. But Chad Henne was the one that had the game-winning playoff drive. That wasn't Baker Mayfield.
Hold on, sir.
Baker
No.
couldn't
That's not the point.
out-compete
The
him.
Chiefs'
Bro.
offense was lessened to the. They didn't
It
have
was-
Patrick Mahomes.
Bro,
All he had to do was
bro.
outscore Chad Henne. That's what we're
Bro,
saying. He had to outscore Chad Henne.
That
Yes,
was-
Chad Henne was going up against the Browns defense.
Hold on.
Sure,
Hold on.
but he had to outscore Chad Henne. That's it.
So what you're saying though is that if it wasn't for Chad Henne leading them on a game-winning playoff drive,
Okay.
if that didn't happen, Baker Mayfield would have won the game, right? So that's
No.
more of a defense thing because he
Huh?
he says the same thing
Hold on.
when it comes to the Bills. He's like, "Oh man, the defense
No.
just held up at the last
That's not what I
drive."
said. Because again, Josh Allen be going tit for tat with Patrick Mahomes. Baker
But
Mayfield.
it's
no,
not about. It's the
No,
situation.
I'm sorry. If
It's a
your starting quarterback is out, I expect my team with my starting quarterback to win. And you keep on
You
saying
still gotta go
you
against the
keep-
defense.
You keep on saying game-winning drive. He leads the game-winning drive. Why was it even an opportunity for there to be a game-winning drive?
The Browns.
Because
Why was the game that close? for
The
there to be a
Browns
game-winning
scored
drive?
17 points. Has Josh Allen? How many times has he scored less than 20 points in the playoff game?
I don't know if that
I mean, that doesn't really.
that happened maybe
'cause-
against the Texans.
Just
And the
the
Bills.
rookie.
I mean, and the Bengals, they scored 10.
Yes. So those
Okay.
two.
So like it happens. It's not like it's a thing.
All
And,
right.
like I think that
All right, I'm moving
you're
on.
expecting a quarterback that's not elite to put up elite numbers. No, but you're expecting him to just do his job. He did enough. The defense was supposed to win.
Did he do enough? 200 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. 204 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
You want to pay for average results, you pay for average results.
He's only getting paid
I'm-
$3 million.
I'm not paying you again to do something that I can get a rookie quarterback
But
to
you
do.
can't always
which is
get a
not
rookie
compete for
quarterback.
a Super Bowl.
You can't always get a rookie quarterback to put up the numbers that Baker Mayfield.
Guess
put up.
what? If I hold on to Baker and I do what you say and draft a guy and I have to wait for Baker's contract to be up, then I have to
You
give
don't have to wait for it to be up.
Okay, either way, I'm stalling to see what my rookie can do. That's whole. And if he doesn't work out, and I have to go back into the well to find another quarterback, I've prolonged this thing longer because I didn't just give my rookie a chance from jump and find out what he has.
And in Josh Allen's case, he has a 24-4 interception to touchdown ratio in the playoffs. Just
So-
wanna put it out there.
But anyway,
Okay, not everybody's getting paid like Josh Allen.
speaking of Josh Allen and the Bills, they did a lot of movement today.
Y'all been working.
They throughout the week, they've done a lot.
I woke up from my nap. Y'all cut Tre'Davious. Y'all cut Jordan. I was like, damn.
Yes. So Tre'Davious won't be cut until June 1st.
Okay.
That's when that move will become official. So until then, they really won't get the money that they would get. So,
y'all can't
it's
use it in
locked
free
in. Right,
agency.
they can't lock that in for free agency, yes. Jordan Poyer, yes, he is gone. Mitch Morris, their center, is gone. They traded Ryan Bates away as well for a 5th-round pick. He's gone. Saran Neal, Deontay Hardy, Naeem Hines, all gone.
Makes sense. I mean, when you have Shakir and Sherfield, you have a bunch of dudes.
Sherfield is gone.
Sherfield's gone too?
Yes, he was
Oh.
only signed for a 1-year deal.
Damn.
So wide receiver
Who you
room:
got a wide receiver?
I just-
Diggs, Shakir, Justin Shorter.
Oh, so y'all gonna get some wide receivers.
Yes.
Okay, y'all reach.
And then the news came out. What was that deal that you saw for Taylor Rapp?
3 years, 14.5 million.
3 years, 14 mil.
So basically,
Restructure Vaughn's contract?
5 years.
5 million.
Yes.
Yeah, $5 million.
And then Trubisky, possibly, depending, they left it open for him to go somewhere if somebody wants to pay him to be a starter.
And then your boy Vaughn got
There you go.
8.5 base
Vaughn
salary.
gets a restructure.
Incentives up to 20 mil.
Yes. So Vaughn gets a restructure. Yeah. So they're
That'd be crazy.
making stuff happen, and I still fully expect for Josh Allen to get restructured at some point as well. But for me, when I see all of these moves, these are not moves that I see for a team that's just trying to become cap compliant. It feels like there's somebody they want in free agency.
Oh, specifically.
It feels like they want to be more active, and there's someone they want, so they're making these moves because they didn't need to do all of this just to get compliant. Because
Well, it's still negative 15.
yes, but restructuring Josh would have already saved you 23 mil by itself.
So-
If you really just so you didn't need to do all of these moves.
Yeah, they kind of did.
No, you didn't.
Bro, they're at negative 15. If they restructure Josh, they'll be at 10,
10
positive 10.
According to Spot Track, they're at negative 7.5 still.
Yes.
28th
so
in the
negative
league.
7 now.
Yes. So they really could have restructured
Right,
a
right.
lot of guys and kept it moving.
Who do you think that they gonna get?
My assumption is probably going to be at the safety position, most likely.
Well,
Because even with Taylor Rapp, they
McKinney?
like to run
I'm about
dime.
to say, is Buda Baker a free agent?
McKinney, Buddha.
Yeah, they
Ronald
like
Johnson.
Yeah, they like to run dime. So even if they sign Taylor Rapp to this cheap deal, fine. They could still go out and get 2 more safeties and run 3 safeties. Because that's what they.
I don't
We're doing
think
that
they
thing.
have the funds. I don't think y'all.
You
have
keep
the
on
funds.
saying that, but he's making moves and he's wheeling and dealing in ways that nobody else thought he was going to be wheeling and dealing right now.
Bro, I don't think you guys are gonna have like the safeties that we just named. They're trying to look for big deals. McKinney's gonna be looking for his big
A safety
deal.
big deal is not a big deal.
It's just $10 million.
Yes, that's not a huge amount of money. I mean, that's a huge amount of money for a safety, but in the grand scheme of things, 10 mil.
It's 10.
It's just
I
10
don't-
mil. Like, that's cheap.
Which is crazy to say. Like,
Yes.
speaking on someone who's never made $1 million.
Yes, but in
10 mil for
I
guess
don't-
in
I
that
don't-
market.
I don't
of the
know.
254 mil,
Correct.
10 mil is all right.
Wait, so you're trying to get
You
2%.
2% of the cap.
No, not 2. I think they're targeting one specifically. I think they're still going to draft one, but I think they're targeting a specific player in free agency. One player. Either that or they're going to use it to try and bring back like Leonard Floyd or some crap. I don't know. But
Could be
yeah, because I know he wants
'Cause
more money after having another
his
season
former.
of 10
Yeah, and
sacks.
his former. I don't think he had 10 sacks. Did he have 10 sacks?
Yeah.
His former defensive coordinator in LA is now a head coach in Atlanta. So.
Eddie Jackson is available. Quandre Diggs is available.
So
Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is available.
we'll see, but I thought it was definitely. I'm not, like I said, Tre'Davious White being gone. Rasul Douglas stepped in already while he was injured, and he played the role right. And then, of course, you have Benford on the other side, so that's there. It's a whole new defense essentially because everybody is gone who was on the defense except for or has been elevated to a new role. So there's nobody in the same role on this.
It's very
defense.
fresh.
Was Poirier your full-time free safety?
He was
Did he
whatever
play?
they
Did he
needed
play
him to
both?
be.
Mhm.
Because he also filled in when Matt Milano went down. He started playing linebacker to fill in the coverage role there.
I'm
as well.
thinking honestly. I'm thinking Buddha for real. If it is a safety, I'm thinking Buddha.
I think Buda will want to come play.
I don't
for
think
y'all
there's a
defense.
wide receiver out there that they're going to pay money to. So I really do think not that they need to clear this much. I think it's really safety that they're going after.
That would make sense to me.
Well,
A younger
we will
safety
see.
at 20.
Well, talking
25,
about
26.
Jeremy
free
Chinn could be
hey, look,
slick.
Talking about free agency, we got free agency coming up next week. Starts the
Officially starts at
March 13th.
March 13th, 4 p.m.
So
Tampering begins.
Like Monday,
So
probably. It always
Monday?
starts that Monday.
I think
Yeah.
it's Monday. Mm-hmm.
Legal tampering begins that Monday.
yeah, I'm gonna say
Sounds
right now.
about
we
right.
already know.
I'm pretty sure there's some tampering going on right
Yeah.
now, but it ain't.
Combine
You
season.
ain't supposed to speak on it. Yeah. You know
Hey,
what
look,
I'm saying? So,
hey, that's your man's. Hey, bro, go talk to him about coming.
hey, man, hey, tell that man right now just how much I want to get.
All those agents who are
Yeah.
there at the combine trying to sign, just like, oh yeah, that's such and such's agent.
Yeah, walking around in disguises and stuff right now.
Mhm.
You know, dropping little notes. You know, they want to give you $25 million.
We were definitely supposed to talk about the next 4 teams, 4 through 8.
We ain't got time to do all that.
We have time to do all
Yeah.
that. So
Thanks, guys.
we're gonna have to.
Because you talked about Baker's contract for 30 minutes, man.
Oh, that was
Yeah,
why
because
Yes.
freaking suck.
absolutely
Baker
yes.
and the combine talk.
it was a combine.
It was both.
That
It
was
was
a big
not-
chunk.
It was both.
It was
It was
both.
both.
It was
We
both.
talked 30, 35 minutes on the combine.
No, we didn't.
That's half the show.
17.
No, we actually did talk 30
And
minutes
no,
on conference.
17.
go back check the tape.
Nah, but we
Go back
stopped
to
at
the-
like 7:45, 7:50.
Thank you. Check the tape.
It's all good.
Yeah,
We will
here
just
it
have
is.
to up the amount of teams that we talk about from henceforth.
We want the rapid
to get
fire.
them on.
Oh, you also interrupted the show from Mitch Trubisky.
That did not add no. That added 25 seconds. Don't do that.
Unbelievable. I can't believe we stopped the show for Mitch Trubisky.
And now you stopping it
That's
again.
crazy.
Look at you.
That might be his future quarterback.
We at the end.
No, it's not because they're agreeing to terms. Don't do that.
Yeah, but if
You
if
got-
somebody is
you
willing
guys
to
might
sign
come
him-
in-
No,
Hey,
no,
you
no,
guys-
no,
you
no,
guys
no.
might come in
If
the
we
middle of
sign
the
him, you can
night.
sign him. I don't want
You
to
know
hear
what I'm saying? You
No,
guys
no,
might
no,
come
no.
in. Y'all got 90 million.
If
We
we
ain't
got
got
to
90
have-
million.
You got money to blow.
Y'all
I
got
guarantee
money.
you, we not spending it on no damn Mitch Trubisky. I don't
2
want to hear.
years, 75 million guaranteed.
Anyway,
Come be our bridge
so what were you saying
for
Cordell?
Drake.
Oh shoot! All right. Well, yeah. So we will
North Carolina.
we will definitely focus next week specifically
Absolutely not.
on free agency, and we will hit on
draft.
And then they give, to compliment Terry McLaurin, they give Gabe Davis another 3 years, $97 million.
Don't be mad that the Commanders have beat the Falcons the last 3 years.
75 guaranteed.
It's okay. It'd be like that. We both mediocre teams. It happens.
Gabe
All right.
Davis and hey,
All right, well, we're
killing
gonna
it.
go
Mr.
ahead.
Trubisky. God,
We're gonna go ahead and kill this now. So thank you all for
Playoffs.
joining us today.
Hell no,
please
not
like,
if that's the case.
please like, subscribe, share on all socials. Thank you for joining us. I'm Cordell.
Marcus.
Then give Leonard Floyd 4 years, $127 million.
E-Rob.
A-Rob Deuce. Nice to see y'all.
$75 million
Be
guaranteed.
blessed. Go ahead,
Bro.
Cordell.
All right, be easy, be breezy, and please take it easy
Then give
till next
Jordan
time.
Poyer
That's the
another
one.
3 years.
Easy breezy, beautiful. Cover girl.
53.
Jordan, don't get me. I'm not even gonna get started with you.
Jordan Poyer 3 years.